My name is Arthur Alford. I was born there in Earl Street, that's in the dock area of Belfast. I was brought up in that area all my life. It's called, a part of Belfast called Silvertown.
It's a tough area to grow up in, Arthur.
Silvertown always was a hard area because it was a mixed area, but there was never any trouble. But there was a hard area, and most of the people that lived in Silvertown were either dockers or sailors.
Politics never entered the sphere.
Politics was never entered at that time of the year because people always lived together. There was poverty down there. It was hard times, but people lived together. And you get, so at one part of the road, you could always walk into a person's house without knocking the door. The doors were always left open.
You followed your father's footsteps.
Well, my father was a docker, and my brother was a docker, and his father was a docker. So we go back a long, long, long way in the Irish Transport and General Workers Union. And I followed the father into the docks. And I was a docker for 27 years myself.
You have been critical of the trade union that you were a member of. You felt there was a degree of corruption. Can you give me a general outline of what your concerns are in relation to that sphere?
Our union all that time was run by, or not, the ARA, practically run by the ARA, and all the top men and the top jobs were all members of the ARA. And if you didn't do what they say, you were sacked, you were sent home, you were taken, you were fined. So therefore, the ordinary docker never stood a chance in our union.
Was there resentment from the ordinary working docker that this paramilitary group was basically pulling the strings?
There again, the ordinary docker didn't like what was happening, but could do nothing about it. These people were too powerful. They were run by gunmen, ARA gunmen.
What would have happened if someone had defied the union?
Well, my father was one who did defy them for years, and they brought him up time and time again and tried to fine him, but he never paid the fines. And any other docker who would even go the same route as my father, some dockers were put out of the union altogether, sacked. And these dockers had families, maybe 3 or 4 of a family. That was their livelihood lost. But that union of ours didn't care. They looked after all their own cousins, their own uncles. They got all the best of jobs. And there's a special part of the docks called the Tully section, Tully men. They were all run by Sinn Féin ARA, all members of the ARA. All their sons was in them, and they were the best jobs. Because not only by getting paid one day, if they worked one day's work, they get paid one day. These Tully men had 3, 4, maybe 5 books to do. That equals 5 days' pay. And they were getting paid the best of wages. Whereas if the ordinary docker, there was no work at the docks, the ordinary docker was sent home to go and sail on the bay. That's the way our union was run, for years.
Your work with, or as a docker, impacted very severely upon your health. Can you go through what happened, how your illness came about, and what you feel now, so many years later?
In 1958, I got into the dockers union, and right from the word go, there was a cargo that came into the Belfast docks called asbestos. Asbestos was gold dust because it had to be used by the shipyard for making ships, for doing all the lagging of the ships. And we were the only port here in Belfast. There was either us or the Cross Channel, and the Cross Channel never touched it. We were the one that took it out all the time. And right from 1958 to 1984, I was working unloading asbestos. Thousands upon thousands of tons came out of the Belfast docks, and we had never at any time any protection at all. We were never even given as much as a paper mask. Now, my health, after I left the docks in 1984, I took sick a couple of times in 2001. I went to the Mater Hospital. The doctor there diagnosed me after 6 or 7 tests, MRI scans. He diagnosed me with having asbestosis. I asked him what was that. I didn't even know. And he said to me, did you ever work with a commodity at the docks called asbestos? I says, of course, with that for years. And he said, and we has ever given any protection? Nothing, I said. Have I never given nothing? Or have I never told it was dangerous? He said, well, Arthur, you should have been told that because this stuff was well known and well documented all over the world as a dangerous commodity. Well, I explained to him that our union never told us, our employers never told us, and there was people at the dock called the factory inspectorate. They were employed by the government to look into dangerous cargoes. They never even told us.
The impact of that must have been great, particularly because you were a boxer. And I mean, a sportsman through and through. You were a professional boxer at some stage in your career as well. I mean, it must have been a devastating blow to find out that you were suffering from a lack of asbestosis.
Well, I walked into the hospital that morning in 2001 expecting the doctor to tell me about cramps or pains in my stomach or such and such, but I walked out after about 6 hours in hospital. I went home. I couldn't believe what the doctor told me. His exact words to me was, Arthur, there's nothing we can do for you.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all we can do for you, only help you along the way. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like after all, I was fit all my life, never drank, never smoked. As you said, I was a professional, amateur, unprofessional, all told about 254 fights. And they were told that there's nothing you can do. Just go home and prepare yourself, he says. And I attended the Mother Hospital right from that time, right, I would go twice a year up for tests and blood tests and you name it, but never giving them the cure because there's no cure for the sickness. And that happened right up till 2007. I was to go to court for compensation. 2 months before I was to go to court, my solicitor phoned me up and said, Arthur, I want you to go and see another doctor in the city hospital, a fellow called Dr. Richard Shepherd and a Dr. John Lawson. Well, I says, what's the use of me going to see him, another doctor, when my own doctor here is calling himself an asbestos specialist, and he was supposed to be the top man in Northern Ireland, a fellow called Dr. Joe Kidney of the Mater Hospital. And I argued my point against it because I thought it was stupid me going to see another doctor when I'm already attending one for near 7 years. But I went over to see this man in the city hospital. About 4:30 at night it was. And I made my way over. He came out of the office to see me. He said, hello. I said, Mr. Offery, you see Dr. Shepherd? He says, I'm Dr. Shepherd. I thought this man was a drunkard. He looked very shabbily dressed, clothed. So he took me into his wee office. On the desk of the office was a big pile of papers. I noticed straight away my name was on top of it, and the Mater Hospital, and Dr. Joe Kidney's name was all on them. So if I put 2 and 2 together, that was the files from the Mater Hospital. And I told the doctor, I said, Doctor, I'm sent over here by my solicitor, Michael Hollywood of the Antidote, to have a full independent examination and an MRI scan. He just shook his head to me and said, no, you'll not be getting any of them. I can look at your file. I'll know what's wrong with you from these files. So he was going to look at me without even examining me, taking the word of another doctor. So I said no more, and I sat there for about 10 to 15 minutes, watched him go through the files. He never spoke to me at all. I said, Doctor, this is a waste of time. Waste of my time and a waste of your time. By the way, you'll be getting paid about £500 to £600 for seeing me. I came over here with intentions. My solicitor told me an independent examination, a full examination and a scan, so that your conclusion and Dr. Joe Kidney's conclusion would strengthen my case. But apparently you're not even going to examine me. He said no. I said, end of story. This meeting is over. And I got up to walk out. He said, the only 2 questions he asked me was, Mr. Murphy, have you ever had any dealings with birds? Well, I know myself, anybody with birds, a bit of a bad chest. I said, no, I never had pigeons in my life. And the other question he asked me, which I thought was diabolical, do you suck grapes?
Suck grapes?
Do you suck grapes? That's the exact words that man asked me. Do you suck grapes? I looked at him, I was disgusted with him, for me sitting there and almost 15, 20 minutes maybe. And there was a window behind him. And I said to myself, if I don't take myself out, he's going through that window. Because I was really disgusted. And I walked out and left him. And I phoned my Michael Hollywood the next morning. He's my solicitor from the Alton Road. I said, Michael, you sent me over there on a wild goose chase. This fella didn't even examine me, done absolutely nothing to me. Yet you're paying him money for that. 3 months later, I was to go to court. And another thing, the strange thing that happened between this court case, I got in contact with the Lord Chief Justice, Sir Brian Kerr, about my case because it was going on too long. It's almost 7 years. And all the people I've been speaking to in the shipyard were settled in 2 years. The Lord Chief Justice said to me, Arthur, you were there 10 court on 3 different occasions and you never appeared. And I said, excuse me, I was talking face to face with this man, a gentleman.
Yeah.
I said, Your Honour, I was never informed at any time to appear in court. He said, you mean your solicitor never got in contact with you? I said, spot on. He said, well, now your next case, I said, I know of a case coming here on June the 13th, 2007. He said, yes. I said, well, I'll be there. And I was there, and that morning I raised early. I was eager to get into court to talk to these people. I sat on the outside of the court wasn't, my case wasn't until 9:30. I got there at 9:15. Sitting there at 9 o'clock, Michael Hollywood with 2 barristers walked in. And when he seen me, the man, the blood drained from the man. And his first question he asked me was, what are you doing here? I couldn't know. I said, what am I doing here? I said, the Lord Chief Justice told me my case has to be heard this morning. And I was to be heard 3 or 4 other times, and I was never told. Once I mentioned the Lord Chief Justice's name to him, he panicked. Another man standing beside him, came, a small lawyer with a wig on him, and black robes. He came and wanted to shake hands with me. He says, hello, my name is Charlie Hill. I'm your barrister. I said, I don't know you fella from Adam. I've been on this case for nearly 7 years, and this is the first time I've ever seen you, and you're saying you're my barrister. The other fella's name is Peter Dorn. And I was shouting that loud, because I'm not a soft talker. Everybody in the court heard me, and there was a couple of policemen. I thought they were going to come over and ask was there something wrong. And these 3, Michael Hollywood, Charlie Hill and Peter Dorn, they ushered me into a small office just off the courts. And they were talking to me there. He said, you know, Mr. Charlie Hill, you know, I'm an asbestos specialist, he says. I said, well, I thought by the closure of where you were a barrister, a lawyer. Are you a doctor as well? And it was all downhill after. He said to me, no, I'm here to tell you that you don't have asbestosis at all. The doctor in the Mara Hospital made a mistake. I says, and how do you know that? I said, where's the confidentiality act between me and my doctor? Surely I should have been the first to be told that. And I said, well, it doesn't matter who tells you that you have no case anyway and that we're here to tell you. I said, you're here to tell me. I said, that I didn't get a letter from my solicitor. I wouldn't have been here. How would I have known? And I looked at him and I looked at Michael Hollywood. If Michael Hollywood could have got out without opening the door, he had through the wall. He turned a caliber corpse. And I was going to speak to him. I looked at him and said to say, what's happened here, guy? No, nothing. And Charlie Hill, I said, I'm going to tell you, something here smells corruption. He says, what do you mean by that? I said, do you want me to spell that out for you? I said, I'm going to tell you, I'm going into court now to see the judge, and I'm going to tell him there's collusion here somewhere. I can't put my finger on. I said, you, and you are sacked. I don't want you near me. And I walked straight out. And by that time, my name has been called to go into court. I went on straight into the court myself. It was a Judge Paddy Coughlin. He was doing the case. And I went straight up, and them 3 came after me, running after me like wee dogs. I was straight up to the judge. I said, excuse me, Your Honour. And I explained the whole case to him. He couldn't believe it. He looked at them 3 as if to say, is this one telling the truth? And he said to me, Arthur, well, all I can do is put your case in abeyance until you get a proper diagnosis. So I said, Your Honour, that'll do me fine. And them 3 was going to walk out again. And I said, excuse me, Your Honour, they're all my files these people have. And he called them back, and they came back like three wee sheepdogs. And he took the files off them and gave them to me, and I took them home.
Right.
And I took them home out of court after sacking them free.
And you're still battling today, 2011?
2007, I went straight up to Joe Kidney, out of the Mother Hospital. I went straight to him. Now, any other time you can't see Joe Kidney, you have to make an appointment. I give him a title. The secretary took my message, she relayed it to him straight up. And I spent 3 hours with him in the Mother Hospital. He said, Arthur, the report he got from Shepherd says I have no asbestosis at all. I said, well, Joe, can you tell me how this man can diagnose me without putting a hand on me? It's impossible, I said. So because of his report, Dr. Joe Kidney had a go along with them because they all work for the same trust. And I had to go to my Nigel Dawes, my MP, and from that time right up till 2009, that's 2 years, we had to fight them to be sent to England to see a specialist in England. And they paid my fare and all the world. I went over and see the specialist in England. Within the space of about 2 years, I got diagnosed with asbestosis. This is one of the top men in England, Dr. Chris Warburton from Liverpool, 83 Hospital. And he says he can't understand how these people couldn't diagnose me because all the symptoms were there. And working 27 odd years with asbestos, it's straightforward, he says.
You're determined to take it right to the end again?
Well, I'm up in court again very, very soon, and I'm bringing over Dr. Chris Warburton as my witness, and he's prepared to come over. So I'm looking forward to that case. Okay. And once they get that case over, I'm going straight back into court again, and I'm taking those 5 corrupt doctors to court, along with 3 corrupt barristers and 2 corrupt solicitors, to let the public know what's happening here.
There's also another individual that you want to see across the floor of a courtroom.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, I want to see the fellow that murdered my father.